Well, welcome back to the channel. I hope everyone's doing fine. This is going to be video 4 of the leadership series that I'm doing. So we're about halfway done, or we are halfway done. I want to cover a little refreshing from the third video, or for the first 3 videos. Remember what a leader is. A leader gets people to do what they don't want to do and like it. A manager deals with resources, so don't get manager and leader mixed up. However, a leader does have to manage, so you have some of those qualities as well. We talked about servant leadership, what it is to serve, and the description provided in the Bible under the book of Mark, chapter 10, verses 43 through 44. We also hit the 7 points of leadership. One is being dependence, then approval, modesty, empathy, optimism, authority, and responsibility. So those were the 7 points that we covered, and we went a little bit in depth in those. We talked about the quality of a leader, so don't get swamped in your details. Don't be petty, don't be pompous. Remember I gave you the movie, The Light Horseman, to watch for a good example of a pompous person. But do select people for the task. Trust your people, make clear decisions, have confidence, and continue to grow. And understand your weakness, which we'll cover later. With all that said, remember, we can lead others only as far along the road as we ourselves have gone. And then no one can be following if we're not leading. So you can be in a leadership position, but if you have no one to lead, you're not a leader. So now let's take some time and investigate you. I have to do this with myself when I was working a lot. And I still have areas that I still need to work on. That's why I continue to try and grow myself in some of the books that I read and everything else. But I want you to be truthful with yourself, okay? I'm gonna give these questions out, and I know there's a whole lot more than what I'm gonna say. But think about them. Pause the video after each question, write it down, or just think about it and then continue on. So the first question. How do you deal with bad habits? Your bad habits and your workers' bad habits. How do you deal with it? How well do you maintain self-control? I know I had a problem with self-control on a couple of instances, and I recognized it as a major fault at that. And it's something that's hard for all of us to do sometimes. But how do you maintain self-control? Do you think independently, or do you use others' input? And what that could mean is using others' input is, are you try and use the team concept, or is it everything your way, period? There are times where we have to think independently, but there's majority of the time where we want to build our team, we want others' input in there to do that team building. How well do you handle criticism? We're all humans. We don't like people telling us we messed up. But how well do you handle it? Okay. I mess up. I'm a human. There's things that I do wrong. I'm also a husband. So you can take that for what it's worth. How do you handle it when someone tells you you're messing up? Do you just take it in and grow on it, think about it, or do you get defensive? Can you discipline someone without making it a power play? If you have someone that you have to do discipline, whether it's verbal counseling, written counseling, or some other type of discipline, can you do it without making it a power play? Do people trust you with difficult and delicate matters? Can someone in your team come up to you and talk to you about something that's difficult or personal and trust that you're not going to go spilling the beans to everyone else? Can you accept opposition to your viewpoint or decision? I've made a lot of decisions in my past careers, and I've had people come in and say that was the wrong decision. And it may have been a better way of accomplishing the task, but I made the decision, and that's where I didn't stop, is I made the decision. Where some people are afraid to make the decision. So Can you accept opposition to your viewpoint or your decision? Do you depend on the praise of others to keep you going? Is the only reason you're leading is because you want someone to come up and pat you on the back all the time and say you're doing a good job, keep doing what you're doing? Or do you do it just because of your inner self, that you know that you're doing the right thing for the right reasons? Are you at ease in the presence of strangers and or your supervisors? Can you get up in front of people that you've never met and talk? Can you lead new people within your crew, or are you introverted or an extrovert? And sometimes even introverted people make great leaders, but you have to overcome that fear. So how do you fit into there? Are your people at ease with you? Do they feel comfortable with you? Are you tactful? Now, I will tell you, being a retired soldier and a deputy sheriff, there's times where I don't have much tact. And sometimes people need to hear the truth. Well, they always need to hear the truth, but they need to hear it in more of a less tactful way. But 90% of the time, you need to use some tact. And are you tactful? Are you prejudiced? That's not racist. Prejudice. Do you have something against some sort of class or some sort of task or anything like that? Are you prejudiced? We're all humans. We all have some sort of prejudice in us. So what are yours, and how do you recognize them, and how do you work around those? Are you strong-willed, or you just follow the trend? I think that's a pretty easy question to ask. How does it fit with you? Can you forgive others? I think the number one thing we can all do is learn to forgive. Yes, things happen where we get upset, but the longer we hold it in, the more it affects us. And what happened yesterday is in the past. What happened 5 minutes ago is in the past. You can't change the past. So, how do you move forward? Can you forgive? Can you accept responsibility? Can you accept the responsibility for your team? Can you accept responsibility for yourself? If something goes wrong, do you make an excuse why it went wrong? Or you just say, yeah, it went wrong, I'm responsible for it, how can I do it better? Does other people's failure annoy or challenge you? And that's my last question, but it's, I think everybody's failure that is affecting us kind of annoys us in some way. But does it also challenge you? Does it challenge you to figure out, okay, what went wrong and how do we fix it, and can we put some sort of corrective action in place to maybe train others to get them up there? So those are a series of 16 questions. There's lots more you could ask yourself, but I figured I'd put those up. Ask them, be honest with yourself, think about it, and just kind of journal it down or whatever you got to do, but put yourself in a what-if scenario, asking that question, and work through it and see how you can come out better at the end. With that said, I'm going to say God bless, hugs. I'll see you in the next video, and we're almost done. I hope you like these short videos.